It is indeed my distinct honor and a privilege to interview and have a very meaningful discussion on leadership by my mentor, Mr. Terry Thompson, who is in Tucson, Arizona, the place where I was fortunate to study at the University of Arizona. Terry Thompson is the founding director of the Arizona Blue Chip program. The Arizona Blue Chip program is the only 4-year personal leadership program in the US, and he is the pioneer of that program. He has also 30 years of experience in the US Air Force at leadership positions. So a very, very warm welcome to you, Terry.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
So today we will talk on leadership, something that you have always lived throughout your career, and something that I have learned from you tremendously in my career. So what is leadership in your perspective?
What is leadership? Leadership is actually a state of being where an individual works with other individuals in achieving common goals or objectives, and doing it in the most efficient manner to benefit all. Certainly leadership is about serving people. It's not about self-actualization. It's about accomplishing things for the greater good.
Wonderful. You talked about serving people, and that is the essence of leadership. And I would like to further draw upon the concept of servant leadership, which is the essence of leadership, that how do you serve people? Can you share some insights on servant leadership?
Well, obviously servant leadership is about the people. It's not about the leader, and it's about generating your abilities and your skills in achieving things that most benefit the people that you are trying to lead and serve. And leadership and servantship are basically the same thing, because you lead for the benefit of others.
Wonderful. Thank you. Can you share how should a leader lead during times of chaos? We are now facing the COVID-19 crisis for the last 9 months. So what will you recommend? What advice will you provide to leaders that are currently facing these chaotic times?
Okay, well, this is really a loaded question and a difficult one. And if I had all the answers, we probably wouldn't be talking. I would be out doing something. First of all, it starts with the leader, and the leader that's charged with leading through this crisis must have credibility. And that leader, people have to believe in that leader and his or her capabilities. And that credibility is derived from things like ethical behavior, the ability to communicate, empathy for people, and probably in this case, a very sound foundation of knowledge of the area in which you're trying to lead. So you need to understand the problem. You need to understand the intricacies of the issue, and you need to be able to guide people through these things, because most of the people out there do not understand all of the intricacies. They understand what's happening to them at their very place of at home or work or unemployment. They understand what's happening in their lives. So to be able to lead through this sort of crisis, you really have to understand what's going on. I would also point out that this is really an extreme case of servant leadership. It is not about you and your accomplishments. It's really about solving the problem for the people. And one of the biggest problems we're facing in the United States right now in an election year is that in trying to lead people through the crisis in a political environment, the focus tends to be more on the leaders rather than on the people that should be served in this particular time. So my goal is to be honest, be focused, don't think about yourself, but think about others, know what you're doing, and incorporate the help of all the good people that you have around you to help you solve this crisis.
Excellent. Very, very humane message of morality, of ethics, of integration, of holistic impact, not just focusing on leadership per se, but actually having the ingredients of a leader that you just very wisely shared. Going to the next stream of questions: is a leader developed, or is a leader is leadership inculcated over the years?
Okay, this is the old question: are leaders born or are leaders made? And in honesty, a little bit of both. There are certain innate characteristics that people have that help them be strong leaders. It has to do with their personality, their charisma, in many cases, their appearance. There's a lot of innate things that contribute to leadership. But the bottom line is that none of those are of any effect unless you understand leadership, you know leadership, you are willing to step up to the challenge of leadership, and you actively pursue the efforts that it takes to lead. So in that sense, leaders are developed because over time you develop skills, you develop knowledge, and you also develop the character that you develop as you age as well as you mature. So, like we do with the Arizona Leadership Program, we take a model that has all of those or some of those innate things that they were born with, and we mold that into a leader by adding on all of the trappings that go with complete leadership.
Wonderful. Very excellent insight. One of the most challenging forms of leadership to practice is situational leadership. And I think that's the real test of a leader. So how should leaders act or demonstrate in when the crisis is really tough? I know you shared about that earlier, but more of talking on situational leadership now.
Well, I would maybe radically propose that all leadership is situational. That leaders respond to the situations as they arise, and the best way that a leader can work through situational leadership is through consistency, and that is as you develop a leadership that model that works for you, and it's how you lead. And if you're consistent with this, you can lead through any type of situation. Yes, you have to tweak it at the edges a little bit based on the situation, but basically the foundation is there. And again, it goes back to being credible, being able to motivate, being ethical at all times. And if you are consistent, the situational leadership becomes just the leadership that you do all the time.
Excellent. We often talk a lot about leadership, but one of the key things of leadership is the prerequisite is being a good follower. And there's very few talk on followership. So can you share your insights on how can you be a good follower before you become a leader?
Yes. Sometimes this is something that gets into the very human nature of ego. Sometimes leaders have a difficulty following, but if you believe that everybody that is out there has worth and has something to contribute, and you're opening to that, you are already in a way creating some followership, because if you're willing to accept the views of others and to act on those, you are doing some followingship. However, I need to step back and say that most leaders have been in the position of being a follower, and that has molded their view of leadership, because every person that you have followed in the past has influenced you either positively or negatively. And if you have put that in your bank of leadership knowledge, you would understand that being a follower is equally as important sometimes as being a leader.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Coming towards the conclusion of this very inspiring interview of valuable insights on leadership by Terry Thompson, US, from Tucson, Arizona. What words of inspiration would you like to share to emerging leaders and people that are currently practicing leadership in different organizations across the globe?
I think the most that I could say in that respect is that this is a very difficult world that we live in. The leadership challenges are very high and very difficult. And I think that if you believe in yourself and you desire to lead, and always believe that if you give 100% of effort to any of your leadership endeavors, that is going to be enough, and that you need to just believe in yourself and not just accept the status quo. Always know that you are capable of making a change, and if you're willing to step up to it, you will make a change. It doesn't have to be big, but every little step of change goes toward the aggregate of major changes.
Thank you so much, Terry, for your valuable insights, and I totally agree. The power of believing in yourself. When you believe in yourself, the world believes in you. So thank you so much for your time. I know it's a bit early in Tucson right now, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you in the future as well.
Likewise. Thank you, Raza.
Bye-bye.